In this video, we're going to work some practice questions related to midpoint and how those correspond in the integrating essential skills category of questions. So let's look at the first question. What is the midpoint of BC? And remember, midpoint, we're looking for the middle point between B and C. And we're given these two coordinate points. We have 2, 3, and then the point 6, 0. So we're looking for the point that will be about in the middle of these two. And if you'll remember for midpoint, we're looking for a point itself, so an XY coordinate. So we're going to first take a look at the X values. We have 2 plus 6, and we're going to divide by 2, almost find the average. And then we have 3 and 0 for the Y's, divide by 2. We can simplify this out, and we have 8 over 2 and 3 over 2, and that simplifies to the point 4 and 1.5. I see we're in decimal places. We have our answers are in decimal points, so that's going to correspond to answer choice D. Number 2, in the standard XY coordinate plane, the midpoint of AB is -3, 2, and A is located at 0, -1. What are the coordinates of B? So this time we're given the midpoint and 1 point, and we want to find the third point. If we can even think about this, you don't have to draw this out, but this will give you a visual as we're learning. So we have the point -3, 2. This is our midpoint. And then we have the point A, which is at 0, -1, which is down here. This will help us see if this is A, B's going to be up in this area so that we can have a line that would somehow fit like that, right? So even as we're looking at our answer choices, some of these don't even make sense. And honestly, the only one that's going to make sense is going to be answer choice G, because that's -6, 5. That's the only thing that puts us in this area. So really we could go with that right off. It turns out that is the right answer, but I'm going to work the problem here for you anyways. But this is how you could look at it visually and plot something out. But what we would do, we know that the X coordinate of the midpoint is equal to -3. And we get that, we're kind of working backwards. We're going to get that by taking the X coordinate of A plus the X coordinate of B and dividing that by 2. So to solve for X sub B, we're going to multiply through by 2, and we have -6 equals 0 cancels out X sub B. And so we already get that X coordinate for B as -6. Again, we could do this calculation. G is the only answer that has -6 as an X. We could stop right there. But just for calculation's sake, so you will know how to work this, let's look at the Y component of the midpoint. We know the Y component is equal to 2, and that is equal to -1 plus the Y component of B divided by 2. So when I multiply through by 2, I get 4 is equal to -1 plus Y sub B, and that's going to make Y sub B equal to 5. And again, that's clearly our third proof of evidence that G is the answer. Let's take a look at number 3. If the midpoint of MN is 4, 1, and M is at 2, -2, and N has the coordinates X, Y, what is the value of X plus Y? So this problem almost goes a step further. We have to find, we're given the midpoint, and we're given another point, and we have to find the third point, but we have to use this X and Y value to find this sum of X plus Y. Let's start off. We know that the X component of the midpoint is 4. That was given to us, and that is equal to the X component of M, which is 2, plus we don't know the X component of N, the X component of N divided by 2. Now let's multiply through by 2, and we have 8 is equal to 2 plus X sub N. We're going to subtract the 2, and we get X sub N is equal to 6. Okay, now we still have to find Y in this case because we've got to take X and Y and add them together. Y of the midpoint is 1. That was given over here. And so now we're going to take that Y component of M, which is a -2. We don't know the Y component of N. We're going to divide that by 2. So now we multiply through by 2. 2 times 1 is 2 equals -2 plus y sub n. Add 2 to both sides, and we get y sub n is equal to 4. We need to know x plus y, the coordinates of n. We have the x coordinate of 6 plus the y coordinate of 4. That's going to give us 10, which is answer choice D. For number 4, the coordinates of the endpoints of AB are 5, -2, and 1, 3 in the standard xy coordinate plane. What is the y coordinate of the midpoint of AB? So we only need the y coordinate here. So we're given both A and B. So let's just look at the y coordinate of the midpoint. It's going to be -2 plus 3 divided by 2. We're going to simplify this out, and -2 plus 3 is 1 over 2. So that gives us 1/2. Answer choice C. Now let's take a look at question number 5. In the standard XY coordinate plane, a line segment has its endpoints at 2, 7, and 8, 5. What are the coordinates of the midpoint of the line segment? So this is just a basic calculation of finding the midpoint. Let's look at the x coordinates for this midpoint. We're given the 2 points, 2, 7, and 8, 5. So looking at the x's, we have 2 plus 8, divide that by 2. So when we have 10 divided by 2, that simplifies to 5. And we can look at our answer choices at this point and see that the only answer choice that has an x component of 5 is answer choice H. That's going to be our answer, H. I'm going to go ahead and calculate y for you, but again, you would not have to keep going at this point when you see that x, the only one that has x as 5 is H. But for the y component, we're going to take 7 plus 5. Again, we're looking at the endpoints. Divide by 2. That turns out to be 12 divided by 2, which is 6. That confirms that H is the choice with the point 5, 6.